Good day everyone! My name is Giancarlo M. Bautista from BSI 3B. For today's video, I am going to discuss my chosen topic, which is analog and digital. So let us start. An electromagnetic or electrical current that transports data from one system or network to another is known as signal. In electronics, a signal is often a time-varying voltage that also serves as information carrying electromagnetic wave. However, it can also be current. What is analog and digital signal? Analog and digital signal are different types which are mainly used to carry the data from one apparatus to another. Analog and digital signals are the types of signals carrying information, and the difference between both signals is that analogs are natural, while digital signals are not continuous, but signals are discrete in value and time. These signals are represented by binary numbers and consist of different voltage values. What is analog signal? An analog signal is one of type continuous time-varying signals, and these are classified into composite and simple signals. A simple type of analog signal is nothing but a sine wave, and that can be decomposed, whereas a composite type analog can be decomposed into numerous sine waves. An analog signal can be defined by using amplitude, time period, otherwise frequency, and phase. An analog signal is not resistant toward the noise. Therefore, it faces distortion as well as reduces the transmission quality. The analog signal value range cannot be fixed. Amplitude restricts the highest height of the signal, frequency restricts the rate at which an analog signal is varying, and phase restricts the signal position with respect to time knotting. An analog signal is not resistant toward the noise. Therefore, it faces distortion as well as reduces the transmission quality. What is digital signal? A digital signal carries the data in the form of binary because it signifies in the bits. This signal can be decomposed into sine waves, which are termed as harmonics. Every digital signal has amplitude, frequency, and phase like the analog signal. This signal can be defined by bit interval as well as bit rate. Digital signals are more resistant toward the noise. Therefore, it barely faces some distortion. These waves are simple in transmitting as well as more dependable while contrasted the analog waves. Digital signals include a limited variety of values which lies among 0 to 1. Differences between analog signal and digital signal. Analog and digital signal are the type of signal carrying information. The major differences between both signals is that the analog signals have continuous electrical signals, while digital signals have non-continuous electrical signals. In addition, analog signals are represented with the sine waves, whereas digital signals are represented with square waves. The best example of an analog and digital signal is electrons, because it deals with analog as well as digital signals, input and outputs. These two kinds of signals are similar to different electronic languages, as some of the other languages can only recognize as well as speak of one of the two. Analog signal describe the behavior of the wave with respect of amplitude, time period, phase of the signals, while digital signals describe the behavior of the signal with respect to the rate of a bit as well as bit interval. In addition, the example of an analog signal is the human voice, while the example of digital signal is the data transmission in a computer. There are many characteristics of analog and digital signals. Number 1. Adaptability. Analog signals are less adjustable for a range of use, whereas digital signals are more adjustable for a range of use. Number 2. Continuity. Analog signals use a continuous variety of amplitude values, whereas digital signals takes a limited set of distinct values consistently spaced paths in the time. Number 3. Types of data. Analog signals are continuous in nature, whereas digital signals are discrete. Number 4, types of waves. Analog signal wave type is sinusoidal, whereas digital signal is a square wave. Number 5, medium of transmission. Analog signal medium of transmission is a wire or wireless, whereas digital signal is a wire. Types of values. Analog signal value type is positive as well as negative, whereas digital signal is positive. Number 7, security. The security of an analog signal is not encrypted, whereas digital signals is encrypted. Number 8, bandwidth. The analog signal bandwidth is low, whereas digital signal is high. Number 9, hardware. Analog signal hardware is not elastic, whereas digital elastic in execution. Data storage. The data storage of an analog signal is in the wave signal form, whereas digital signal stores the data in the binary bit form. Number 11, portability. Analog signals are portable similar to the thermometer and low cost, whereas digital signals are portable similar to computers and expensive. Number 12, data transmission. In analog, the signals can be deterioration due to noise throughout transmission, whereas digital signal can be noise resistant throughout transmission, devoid of any deterioration. Number 13, impedance. The impedance of the analog signal is low, whereas digital signal is high. Power consumption. Analog devices has more power, whereas digital devices use less power. Data transmission rate. The data transmission rate in the analog signal is low, whereas in the digital signal, it is faster. Example. The best example of the analog signal are video, human voice in the ear, radio transmission waves, or TV transmission waves. Applications. Analog signals can be utilized in analog devices exclusively. Thermometer, whereas digital signals are appropriate for digital electronic devices like computers, PDA, cell phones. Advantages of digital signal over analog signal. Digital signals are more secure and they do not get damaged by noise. These signals use low bandwidth. They allow the signals transmitted over a lengthy distance. Digital signal has a higher rate transmission. By using these signals, we can translate the messages, audio, video into device language. Last, digital signals can enable the transmission of multidirectional correctly. Here are the disadvantages of using digital signals. A higher bandwidth is required for digital communication when compared to analog transmission of the same information. DSP processes the signal at high speeds and comprises more top internal hardware resources. This results in higher power dissipation compared to analog signal processing, which includes passive components that consume less energy. Digital systems and processing are typically more complex. Advantages of analog signal. Analog signals are easier to process. Analog signals best suited for audio and video transmission. Analog signals are much higher density and can present more refined information. Analog signals use less bandwidth than digital signals. Analog signals provide a more accurate presentation of changes in physical phenomena such as sound, light, temperature, position, or pressure. Analog communication systems are less sensitive in terms of electrical tolerance. Disadvantages of using analog signal. Data transmission at long distance may result in undesirable signal disturbances. Analog signals are prone to generation loss. Analog signals are subjected to noise and distortion and opposed to digital signals which have much higher immunity. Analog signals are generally lower quality signals than digital signals. Analog signal system and applications. Traditional audio and communication system use analog signal. A few analog signal applications are listed. audio recording and reproduction, temperature sensors, image sensors, radio signals, telephones, control systems. Digital signal system and applications. A few digital signal applications are listed. Communication system, broadband cellular, networking and data communications, data interfaces for programmability. These two signals play a big role in our daily lives. They help us to make our activities easier and more beautiful. And they also provide fun and serve as our entertainment. Our world is already living in the modern technology we call modernization, and is greatly influencing the availability of communication through new devices. During the pandemic, many transactions were stalled, and education was one of them. Because online classes have become a way for students and teachers to communicate, these two have been a great help in enabling the students to continue learning. Through technology, we can be given enough knowledge and we can further develop our ability to use it.